Welcome back to my channel. You already know it's your boy Hood Diggity, the Rock Reactor, back with another video. Yes, sir. Before I proceed, let me know where you tapping in from. Let me know what country, what city, what mountain, what hill, what cave, what island, what planet, what universe. Let me know where you at. Represent your hood. Yes, sir. We got today's news. CNN reporter asks Nicolas Maduro out of Venezuela what his message is to Trump, and let's get to hear his response. You know, guys, I have mixed feelings or mixed opinions about the boats that have been bombed, Trump bombing those boats, the U.S. military bombing those boats. I have mixed feelings. It's illegal. No, I do not think it's legal. It is not legal. But then again, all the drugs that have been going, somebody had to do something. So I kind of agreed. I kind of understand Trump's drastic measures, because sometimes, guys, you can't fight fair. You can't fight a cheater fair. You can't play by the rules all the time when somebody else, well, the other side is not playing by the rules. So I kind of understand where he's coming from. He's doing something that sometimes you got to get radical to get things done. Sometimes that's what it takes. So I understand. But is it legal? It's not legal, because those people need to be tried. Those people need to be captured. Those people are not really posing any threat to be bombed like that. They could just roll up on them and just arrest them and bring them to justice. That's what needs to be done. However, like I said, I understand him. I probably would do the same thing if I was Trump. You can bring in drugs into my country. And all you got to do is look at Kensington, look at all the people that are dying, all the damage that drugs has caused to the states. It's crazy. But anyway, guys, as far as going to war with Venezuela, sometimes I think that Trump is just trying to force Maduro's hands. Trump's is just trying to move in. But I kind of don't see that a war is coming. Like Venezuela, like the States is going to declare war on Venezuela. I kind of don't see that. Because I think they need to take into consideration that there's, the citizens of Venezuela, innocent, that might die, that it might cost their lives. Anyway, let's get right to it, guys. Let's get right to it. Let's see what's going on here. Before we do, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. Any donations to my channel will be greatly appreciated. My PayPal account is on the screen. Let's get it. Let's see what his response is.
All right, this morning is CNN exclusive. Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro with a message for Americans as President Trump mulls potential military action inside Venezuela. CNN contributor Stefano Pozzomon is in Caracas with the latest. Good morning, Stefano.
Yes, good morning. I think that the value of the exchange that we had with Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro yesterday here in Caracas is not on the message that he said, not what he said, because we have heard this type of speech, these messages of peace towards the United States before, but it's the fact that he was out on the street and surrounded, quite frankly, regular people, regular Venezuelans and the supporters of his government. The exchange was in a march just outside the Miraflores presidential palace. I was able to ask him what is his message for President Trump. Take a listen.
What is your message to the people of the United States, President?
To unite for the peace of the continent. No more endless wars. No more unjust wars. No more Libya. No more Afghanistan.
You notice how he keeps saying the continent. He's trying to, most of the people, most of the countries surrounding Maduro, they hate Maduro. They hate him, but now he's trying to look for friends now.
Do you have a message for President Trump?
My message is yes, peace. Yes, peace.
I think that it's important to highlight the context of that exchange. Maduro is not only the sitting head of state here in this country, but he is also, according to the White House accuses him of being the leader of a narco-trafficking cartel, and they even put a $50 million bounty on his head just a few months ago. For months, we have seen, especially we have heard from the White House, messages of Maduro being afraid, of Maduro being willing to negotiate. I think that yesterday's message from him was frankly a loud, catch me, come and get me. I'm here in Caracas, surrounded by my people. He didn't want to show that he is afraid just as much as somebody in the White House perhaps wants him to be. And that is why it was so important, I think, for him to be seen outside of the presidential palace for, I think, the first time in a few months, and the first time that he accepted questions from journalists since this new deployment of warships from the United States began up until 3 months ago.
All right, Stefano Pozzebon in Caracas for us this morning. Stefano, thank you for your reporting. With us now, CNN's chief national security analyst, Jim Sciutto, who's laughing at me right now, and CNN military analyst, retired Colonel Cedric Leighton. Jim, I want to start with you here because you've got new reporting on this, and it's complicated, right? Because the U.S. is involved right now in these active strikes against drug boats, what the administration says are drug boats in the water. At the same time, you've got reporting of the president being briefed on land action that could be connected to regime change. I mean, there's a lot going on here.
This is what Zach Cohen and Kevin Liptak and I are told, and that is that the president was briefed this week.
Guys, there's more. We all know, it's no secret. We all know that there's more to it than this. There's more to it than Maduro is working with the narcos and with the cartels, and he's pushing drugs into the states. I think there's more to it than that. Maduro's no saint, but there's more to it than that. Trump, like always, he's playing chess here. This is a business strategy more than everything. This is a business deal that he might have with the guy and that girl, I forgot her name, that they actually was the one that won the election during Maduro. I think there's some type of business deal. It is to Trump's convenience that Maduro steps down. So I don't know. I think there's more to it than this.
On multiple military options for Venezuela, up to and including strikes on land, and including not just striking drug targets, but also potentially military targets. I'm told that Southcom, Southern Command, has set up cells for developing these strike options, these strike packages, which have then been presented to the president, Pete Hegseth, the defense secretary, and Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Now, the president hasn't decided to exercise these options, and our reporting is that the president hasn't decided how far he wants to go, and frankly has reservations about going to full-scale military action there. That said, they've at least developed the options for him, and given that range of options, it shows you at least what they're considering, right? And they certainly, with all these pieces in place there, including the biggest warship in the U.S. Navy, right, the Gerald Ford, they have the capability to carry out these options.
And again, we're showing these strikes against what the administration says are drug vessels, and this is connected but slightly different than what you're talking about here. And I'm going to talk about the military implications of this with Cedric in a second. But Jim, from a political and diplomatic perspective here, explain to me that subtle difference between when you're talking about strikes on military targets in Venezuela versus the video we keep showing of the boats here.
Well, to date, the administration has gone off after what it says are drug smugglers here, these deadly strikes. Of course, there are those who question that they know this, including some of our closest allies. To date, that has been as far as they go. But there is discussion, at least, consideration of going bigger, right, with possibly even the intention of trying to push Maduro out of power. Now, it's our understanding that Trump's hope, to some degree, is that this show of force might encourage others inside the country to abandon him, right, and in other words, do America's work for it, right, short of, no one's talking about a full-scale invasion. But, of course, it's not clear that that's going to happen, right? That might just be a hope and ambition. And at some point, the president might decide to apply more military.
See, that's what I said, that Trump is just trying to force Maduro's hand, and not just Maduro, the military, the Venezuelan military, the people around him, to just give him up. Listen, give him up, and we won't continue. He's trying to see how far they go.
pressure.
So, Colonel Layton, to you, what's the difference from a military standpoint of continuing to hit these boats, which again the administration says are drug boats, and then striking on the ground at potential state targets inside Venezuela?
Yeah, that's a considerable difference and would represent, John, a very big escalation in this effort. So any type of campaign of this type requires a great deal of planning. And one of the things that I'm comparing it to is the operation back in 1989 against Panama, Operation Just Cause, as we called it. So in that particular scenario, it took almost 2 years to plan that operation and to actually take out the then leader of Panama, de facto leader of Panama, Manuel Noriega. And he was implicated in drug trafficking as well. So there are certain parallels here. But in that particular case, there were certain precipitating actions on the part of both the Panamanians and the U.S. that led to Operation Just Cause actually being executed. And when it was finally executed, we employed about 26,000 troops to actually make that happen. So when it comes to this particular operation against Venezuela, we see a major buildup, and certainly with the Gerald Ford, making its way toward Venezuela, it's a very big, use of force. About 100,000 tons actually is the weight of that ship. It's going to be a very big show of force, but it really won't be enough to go after that particular country to affect regime change. So it's kind of in line with what Jim and the other colleagues are reporting, and it is a very big effort that would need to be done to even go after the Venezuelan state, and it would definitely be an escalation if that were to happen.
Yeah. Jim?
Well, just a point on the legal factor here, because as you know,
Guys, we all know that this is, and I'm going to say this again, this is something deeper than drug trafficking. This has way more to do than drug trafficking. Why not Mexico? Why not Colombia? Colombia and Mexico are the biggest threat to the United States as far as drug trafficking. Why not? And the drugs are still going in through Mexico, still going in through the Pacific. So why not? Like I said, Maduro's no saint. I would love for them to bring him down. Maduro's done a lot of bad shit. Maduro is responsible for millions and millions and millions of citizens fleeing Venezuela, people eating off the garbage. He's oppressed his people a lot. He's no saint. But I think this is deeper than that, guys.
the Trump administration has come up with what it believes to be legal justification for these strikes on drug boats, narco-terrorists, etc. Our reporting is that the administration does not yet believe it has the legal justification for military action against the regime. Doesn't mean they won't get there,
right?
But that is yet another hurdle to get over before the president issues such an order.
The legal issues and questions here are so fascinating and in some ways uncharted territory here. And Cedric, just to get to your point, the USS Gerald Ford, which is the country's biggest aircraft carrier in service right now, that's not a weapon you use against these drug boats, correct?
That's right. That's exactly right. I mean, it's like taking a sledgehammer to a gnat, and that's that's really the difference when you look at the laws of proportionality to look at the legal aspect of this, just as Jim was doing. The laws of proportionality in warfare really require you to use proportionate force. This is extra proportionate, to say the least, and it's going to really indicate, to me at least, it indicates that there is an effort to do something else besides going after the narco-terrorists, that are out there, that are purportedly out there doing this. So they need a lot of intelligence justification, and they need to make the connection both internally to the planning process as well as for the public, that this is actually exactly what the mission is, that they're going after the narco traffickers, and that the Venezuelan state is directly connected to those people.
Colonel Cedric Layton, Jim Sciutto, in person. Great to see you.
So, guys, like I said, Maduro is no saint. There's a lot. I'm in the Dominican Republic. There's a lot of Venezuelan people that have migrated here. There's a lot of Venezuelan people that are happy that this is going on. A lot, especially the ones outside of Venezuela. They would love for the Americans to go in and bring down that regime, that Maduro regime, because it would mean a change to the regime. So, but I think that Trump is playing chess. Trump is just basically forcing their hand so they could give up Maduro. There's a regime change, and then he's able to negotiate and have better relations, diplomatic relations with Venezuela. I think that's the angle here. Guys, let me know what you guys think. And of course, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell, hit the like button. Any donations to my channel will be greatly appreciated. My PayPal account is on the screen. Peace, love, and God bless.